Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about how I won the Newport, Rhode Island Marathon. Now, this is good advice for anybody who's going to run a marathon, but this is specifically how I ran the Rhode Island Marathon, is I went out conservatively. This is so important to do if you're going to run a marathon because it gives your body time to settle in. Even if you're going 10 to 15 seconds slower than your goal pace for the first few miles, there's a lot of nerves and anxious emotions. Stomach can be unsettled for those first few miles. But then after the first few miles, you're able to relax a little bit more. Those nerves start to go away because you realize it's just a marathon. It's just a run, right? So, and if you go out too quickly in the first 5 or 6 miles, the anxiety and the nerves are in the unsettled stomach are just going to continue to get worse. And you're not going to give yourself a chance to really settle in. Marathon is a long way to go, so you want to just warm up, in so to speak. It's still going to be a fast pace, right, relative to you, but just kind of stay under that threshold. Just kind of fast pace, get used to that fast pace, and then try to what's called negative split the second half, which is exactly what I did in Newport. So. This Newport, Rhode Island marathon, I ran a 2 hours 38 minute marathon. Not a PR for me, but I was very happy with the time considering the course, the lots of hills, and the day was very bit windy, and it got a bit hot at the end. So with all things considered, winning the marathon was definitely something that a goal of mine. So I wanted to win the marathon. I wanted to run a PR, and I wanted to qualify for Boston next year. So I got 2 out of 3. Didn't run a PR, but it just wasn't my day for a PR. So that's kind of the first tip that I would give to any marathoner. Right, go out conservatively, settle into the race, see how you feel, and try to run with a pack. So the Newport Marathon is not very big. I think it was about 1,100 marathoners. So not big relative to the major marathons. But if you can run with a pack, especially on a windy day, it just makes it more enjoyable. You guys are able to kind of pace each other together. You don't have to think so much about the pace if you're in a pack, that you can kind of talk about what paces you're running and who's kind of leading the pace group, and working together as a group can really go a long way, and that really helped me out in this Newport Marathon. I want to go back to the taking it out conservatively, how that's going to help you in the second half, right? So if you're able to get past that 13.1, that halfway mark, and still feel good with some energy, that's going to give you a huge mental and physical boost, because now you'll be in the second half, you'll start catching other runners that didn't go out quite as conservatively, or they're just having a bad day, injury, stomach issues, something going on. You're gonna pass some marathoners that are hurting, and that's gonna fuel you mentally, right? Because even though you're starting to hurt, you're not hurting as bad as these people that you're passing. So you get that mental boost. Oh, okay, like I thought I was hurting, but relatively to these other runners, um, I'm not. I'm pretty good. I'm in pretty good shape right now. So it's going to boost you mentally, and then you're going to get that physical, that adrenaline, dopamine, those catecholamines rushing through. It's going to push you along. And then you're able to just think more clearer, right? If you're not as fatigued, you're hitting mile 15, mile 16, you're not as fatigued, you can think, oh, I got about 10 miles to go, and 10 miles seems like a lot, but during your training, you've crushed 10-mile runs. Like maybe there's been a 10-mile route. For me, I do a lot of 11-mile runs, that mid-long run kind of distance. So I was able to just think 10 miles, I've done my route, I just got to do my route. So you're able to just break the race up a little bit more mentally. Let's talk about how I got to winning the marathon, right? The work that had to be put in. And I want you guys to know right off the bat, I didn't run in high school. I wasn't a collegiate runner. I just got into running about 5.5 years ago. around the age of 22, 23, around that COVID pandemic time. Kind of transitioned from playing men's league soccer to marathon training, and I've progressed fairly quickly. It can be done. Your body will adapt fairly quickly as long as you stay injury free, and you train effectively. Now, I'm a student of physical therapy. I'm in my third year of physical therapy school, and I've been working in the field for about 6 years now. So it's vitally important that you stay injury free. Things like where your foot is landing when you're running, right? Is your foot stretched out in front of you? Is it landing right under your base of support? Are you not bringing your foot far enough under your base of support? Your running mechanics matter. Are you overutilizing a leg? Are you overutilizing a specific muscle group? Maybe you're using too much of your hamstring. Maybe not enough of your glute. Maybe your lower legs are weak. Maybe your ankles are weak. It's difficult to say why you're getting a specific injury without being in tune with your body during your runs. So when I first started running, I would use headphones and I would blare music and I would just try to get out of my head, right? And just log the miles. I found that this is not an optimal way to train. This is a dangerous way to train. The way that you want to train is you want to go internal while you're running. Things like your breathing, right? You want to focus on your breathing. But more so than your breathing, you want to focus on how you're landing, right? Am I landing symmetrically under my base of support? Am I overutilizing my hamstring? Am I not using my glutes? Is my posture slumped over? Am I leaning back? Am I pushing off harder with one leg than the other? Am I noticing a weak muscle group? This is where, so these are things, right? Because if you've been on a long run before, it can get pretty boring, right? But it won't be quite as boring if you're thinking about the right things, right? If you're thinking about your mechanics, if you're thinking about your potential, muscle imbalances, right? We all have muscular imbalances. We're not perfectly symmetrical, but are they causing us pain, right? So if you want to get better at running, you got to run, right? That's got to be the number one thing. But if you want to get better at running, strength training can help. Strength training can help keep you injury free. Strength training, and then maybe a little bit of stretching as well. If something is overly tight, something gets overly tight likely due to the muscular imbalance and likely due to poor mechanics. So just stretching it might only be like a short-term kind of fix, but stretching can definitely help with blood flow and helping your body to recover a little bit quicker. So there are components of the running that are vitally important to the running, to keeping you injury free, to optimizing your running economy, how much running you can do safely. With that being said, it would be ideal to be working along with a physical therapist that can kind of coach you through these things. I am willing to offer to meet with you online, just to discuss with you some potential things to look at, some potential things that could be causing you an issue or could be causing you an issue down the line. I'm here to help you guys. So strength training, plyometric training, right? If you look at these runners, they're very springy. So not only are they strong, but they have great elasticity, right? They kind of looks like they're just kind of floating on the road, right? Because they spring kind of like a kangaroo. Their tendons are elastic. So the way you train that is carefully through some sort of plyometric training, right? So like box jumps, squat jumps, single leg hops, hopping drills, things of that nature. So just to reiterate, consistency is going to be key. So you got to stay consistent with your training and you got to stay consistent with your diet. And I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent now because marathon training, I'm going to talk about one of the biggest benefits of marathon training, right? It makes it easy to say no to things. So what I mean by that, it makes it easy to say no to things that you know, it gives you structure, right? So let's say I'm training for a marathon and I'm 12 weeks out or 10 weeks out, whenever you want to start training. For that 10 weeks, I have this bigger goal in mind, right? So I'm less likely to make decisions like drinking alcohol, eating sugary sweets, things that empty calories, right? Sodas, things like that. I'm not going to be partying quite as much. I'm going to be getting better sleep. I'm going to be focused on my sleep. I'm going to be focused on my strength training and my running. That's going to take priority. So it helps add structure to your life, and that's how it kind of overall just helps improve everything about your life, because you're making these better decisions because you have a higher valued goal than these lower value quick fix kind of instant gratification. You guys get what I'm saying, type of thing. So just to reiterate, go out conservatively if you're running a marathon, even a half marathon. Go out conservatively for the first few miles. You don't go out slow, but make sure you warm up through those first few miles. Let your body settle in. Let the nerves settle in. Get in tune with your breathing and your body and your mechanics. So that way you can have fun, right? If you're having fun during the marathon, you're going to run that much more. That's going to produce more dopamine. More adrenaline. You're going to run better. So make sure it's fun and enjoyable. And it's tough to make the last 10K, 6 miles, enjoyable. So go out conservatively so that you can enjoy it. And that's only going to fuel you mentally and physically, if you can do that. Stay consistent with your training. So what else I did with my Rhode Island, my marathon, I stayed consistent with my running. So you don't have to have these big weeks. I was averaging maybe 40 to 45 miles a week. I was doing some stationary bicycle and, again, strength training. But it's not about hitting these big 100-mile weeks. That's great if you can do it. I'm still working up to that. And I've hit 60-mile weeks, but it's just too much it can be too much overload relative to wherever you're at. So find a number that you can stick with for a few weeks. Maybe it's 20 miles. Maybe you do 20 miles for 5 weeks. That's going to give you a lot more training benefit than doing 10 miles, 30 miles, 30 miles. Now I'm hurt in week 4, so now I do 5 or 6 miles. And it just consistency. Find something you can stay consistent with a number over the long haul, right? For a year, as long as you can. Just find, and then once 20 miles becomes easy for you, then you can progress. Okay, maybe I'm going to do 25 miles for these next 5 weeks, and just play around with it a little bit. If you're in tune with your body and you know how you're feeling, that's going to be the best way for you to progress properly. But only you know that. You have to be in tune with your body. Is something hurting? Is there a muscular imbalance? Is your hamstring working too much? Is your low back working too much? Think about muscle groups that may be overworked, and maybe look at the muscles above and below that muscle group and see if they're weak. Again, I would love to help you out with this. Just trying to dial in your strength training and making sure you're staying healthy and you have longevity in the marathon training, because that's really what it should be about. I mean, we see marathoners that are 38, 39 years old and they're running PRs. So if you have longevity in the game, you kind of have a lot of potential, right? If you stay healthy. No music when you run. I'm not saying don't ever do music, but just limit it. Spend more time in tune with your body. in tune with how you're feeling, in tune with your mechanics, and just trying to perfect your stride. And running it, yeah, you're mainly using your legs, but it's a full body. Make sure you're not overly rotating your trunk when you're running. You're not pumping your arms too much. Your shoulders aren't too high. So it's a full body movement running. So just keep that in mind. So that kind of wraps up how I won the Newport Marathon. I went out with a group. I ran with my brother for the first half, and we got a group of 5 or 6 of us, and we worked together through the wind. Around mile 16, I started to pick it up. I knew I had 10 miles to go, and I just started picking off maybe 5 or 6 runners as they were dying out and they weren't enjoying it. So go out slowly so you can enjoy the marathon. That'll give you more fuel and more energy going forward. So again, I'm Brett Milden. I am a student physical therapist, and I look forward to helping you out. I'll put my contact information in the description. Feel free to reach out so we can link up and see if I can help you out. But best of luck going forward, and reach out if you need me. Thanks for watching.